This is the Coach Baily Show. Welcome in, James Phillips, joined by Coach Baily. I would say as always, but it's been a couple weeks.
It has. It's been a while. I've been missing you, James.
I've missed you.
Been missing our time to come in here and visit a little bit.
Our fellowship.
That's right. We do have good fellowship. Big,
over football.
Big fellowship, guys. That's right. Glad to be back. Glad to be back.
So let's talk real quick. Last game y'all played was Clay-Chalkville.
Yeah.
That one didn't go the way we would want it to go.
No, that was tough, man. Tough night, but that's a really good football team. You know, we're not the only people that had a rough night against those guys.
Right.
So, they're really good, man. They got a lot of really good players. They're very well coached. I think there's a lot in front of that football team. So, tough night. There were some positives, that we took away from it. Returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, so that was big.
Can't say you didn't have the lead.
We did have the lead briefly. Very briefly, we had the lead right there. So, offense did execute a 2-minute drive right there before halftime. Went down there and got some points, and we kept playing. Right, finished the game. It's not about who we play; it's about who we are. It's what we talk about a lot. So, played all 48 minutes in that game. Says a lot about our kids. That's a testament to them. They're going to play it the right way, and they finished the game. So, obviously, the outcome on the scoreboard was not what we would have hoped or would have wanted, but there were some positives to take away from it.
Well, and bouncing back is one thing because you had that game to bounce back from, and then last week, no game, and I know it bothered you as much as anybody not to be able to play, but that was COVID issues, so now you're bouncing back from a loss and COVID issues.
That was such a crazy week to try to navigate, man, for all of us, for our kids, and if you look at it, and we were fortunate through this whole pandemic that's been going on longer than any of us would have liked. But even through last year and then through the start of this year, that was the first game that we've had affected by COVID, and we had a surge on our team. We had way more COVID issues as far as positive cases and kids quarantined. We had more last week and really the week before because it started during our bye week. We had our bye week after Clay.
Right.
So that's when a lot of it started, and then it carried over into last week, and we had more issues during that time than we've had during this entire pandemic combined. So really and truly, we were fortunate. We made it longer than most people to not be affected by it. And then with all the guys that we had out and the positions that those guys played, really no way to play that game. So I hate it, man. I hate that more than anything, not being able to play a football game, because I think me and you had talked, and in my whole career as a player, as a coach, the only time that I had a game that was canceled leading up to that as a player was 9/11. 9/11 canceled a football game, and then Hurricane Katrina moved one. We were supposed to play Millsaps in Jackson, Mississippi. That moved that game from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. But really, those two things were the only things that affected football games.
Those are major things.
Major things in our country, right? And COVID is obviously there too.
Right.
So again, we were fortunate to not have one affected up until last week, and I hate that it was a home game. I hate that it was somebody like Gardendale that would have brought fans with them and would have had a great atmosphere for our kids. I hate it more than anything that we lost an opportunity to play football because you don't get a lot of them, man. You only get 10 regular season games. You get 10 guaranteed opportunities to play, and then we lost one of those. So I hate it more than anything. But it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it. So last week, again, was a crazy week. We didn't get to practice the way that we typically do. We still got to lift and condition and got to do some different things, trying to be socially distanced and spread out. And again, trying to mitigate that COVID as best that we could within our program, man, trying to get all the guys that were positive back healthy and them going through their 5-day reacclimation. That's a rule by the state, and making sure that nobody else got sick. Several times deep cleaned our entire building, locker room, meetings rooms, everything. And we've done that. We still social distance in meetings and put on masks and clean everything every day. But, just trying to do everything we can to mitigate this virus because it's a bad deal right now, man. COVID is worse right now than it's been during any point in the pandemic.
Well, especially with kids.
People younger and younger are getting sick. Man. COVID is it's awful. I hate it, and I know everybody else does as well. But again, I thought our kids handled themselves for the most part the right way last week, coming to work and trying to make the best of not a good situation,
right.
you know. So, but got almost everybody back healthy, and got to get out there yesterday, which would have been Monday, in Shells, and have our first real football practice that we've had in over a week. So a little bit rusty. I don't think we're as crisp as probably we need to be, but that's to be expected. But energy was good, effort was good. Just got to clean some things up a little bit. So.
Well, and you talked about the COVID. Usually on a bye week, you're trying to get healthy. On a bye week, you guys did not get healthy.
Sick. Yeah. Well, healthy, and we've had to flip our mindset so much, man, because you think of like the football injuries. Like the bye week's the time to heal up from football injuries.
Right.
But then now you got kids getting sick, and it's COVID and quarantine, and it's just.
But I thought the team did a really good job, and I saw a lot of parents making social media posts telling people, please, you know, get vaccinated, use masks, things like that. I thought it was a good opportunity for them to be able to put out a positive message about how to help combat this thing as much as possible.
Yeah, and that's a testament to Jasper, to our kids, and to their parents. I didn't hear a whole lot of negativity. You always have some. It don't matter what you do. You're always going to have some. But I think more than anything else, it was a positive message as far as wanting to keep kids safe and keep them healthy. And we've all got to protect ourselves during this thing.
Right.
COVID it's a bad deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real, and it's dangerous. I can assure you of that. But yeah, no, I thought overwhelmingly the response was positive as far as trying to get our kids back healthy. So thankful for that.
Now, distractions aside, it's homecoming week, right?
Yeah, right on the heels of all of that, we have a very good football team that's coming here, and it is homecoming week. So we got Demopolis that's coming in here. They are 3-2 right now. They had a game against Central Tuscaloosa that they lost to COVID. They missed out on playing that game to COVID. They ended up in the records. They won that game, but they didn't actually play it. So they've been rolling the past two. Sipsey Valley and Shelby County. They scored a lot of points against both of those guys. Played Calera and McAdory early in the year. Real tight ball games with both of those two. So D-Mop's a good football team, man. Coach Seymour, he's old school, and I mean that in a complimentary way. That he's an old school football coach, man. You can tell those guys are coached the right way, you know. So defensively, front seven's really good. They got some D linemen. You can tell they're well coached. Fire off the ball, low, right? Good with their hands, strike their key, stay in their gap. They do the things that good D linemen do. Number 4, got a linebacker who can really run, tackle the football. Number 1's a very good player. 13 is a kid that can really run. But they're good on defense, man. A lot of bear front. You'll get some 3 high safety, which is really some Iowa State stuff. Personnel will dictate some of that. When we get in more open sets, more 10 personnel stuff, or down in distance, 3rd and long, you'll get some 3 high safety stuff. But more than anything else, he'll like to play bear, play some match quarters. But they're good, man. I mean, they're good at what they do. Offensively, they're going to stay in 21 personnel, you know, which is 2 receivers, 2 backs, and a tight end. Run a lot of power, run a lot of buck sweep. They're pretty good in the screen game.
Right.
And then they'll throw and catch as much as they need to. But they got some ball carriers that know how to carry the football now.
Well, last year
when they want to get in there and run the ball, and they know how to do it.
When you guys played them last year, they were undefeated. That was their homecoming on the road at Demopolis. That was a long trip.
Yeah, they won 11 in a row last year.
Right. Yeah.
they didn't lose until they lost in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, but it's about 2.5 hours over to Demopolis. We lost that game by a score. I think we lost it 13-7.
Right. I know that was one the whole year you wish you could have got back.
Yeah, that was tough, man. Our defense fought their tails off that night.
Yeah.
They played well enough to win. Ain't no doubt about it. But we couldn't get enough going on offense. Had the ball there at the end. Got a penalty. There was a really tough call that put us behind the sticks. But had a chance to go down and score and either try to tie that football game or go for 2 and try to win it. But we were right there with them, man. So D-Mop is a very good program traditionally. They've always been strong. They won 2 state championships in the past 20 years or so. I'd say, but if you think back to 2019, right, when we were 5A and Jasper was ranked number 1 in the state, I believe, for the first time in school history.
Right.
Well, you know who's ranked number 2 in the state in 5A?
Demopolis.
Demopolis.
Right, yeah.
Guys, this is a very, very good football team. So I wish that we weren't playing them for homecoming. That really wasn't my decision. If I got to pick maybe a different opponent for homecoming, that'd probably be better. But this is a very good football team.
Well, no weeks are easy.
No, on our whole schedule, I don't have any weeks that are easy. Typically, when you think of your homecoming game, you think of an opponent maybe that you feel really good about playing something along those lines. But no, Demopolis is certainly a very fine football team, and it's going to take our very best effort in this game. There's no doubt about that.
Now, what do you guys need to do? Let's talk about our team. What do we need to do to make this a win?
We got to stop the run. run on defense. There ain't no doubt about it. We got to stop the run. I feel like if we can do that, then we'll be okay. We got to make them throw it and catch it to win the game. So offensively, we got to be able to run the football. It goes back to that. It's the old, you got to stop the run. You got to be able to run the football.
Right.
We got to be able to throw and catch it when our shots are there, when our opportunities are there to make big plays. We have to connect on those things, and we have to do it. Got to be sound in the kicking game, and we have. I think through this point in the season, I thought we've done a really good job in the kicking game.
Right.
We got to make sure that we continue doing that, don't have any breakdowns in that deal right there. And we got to protect the ball, and then we got to take it off of them. So if you run the ball, you stop the run, you're sound in the kicking game, and you win the turnover battle, that's a recipe for winning a whole lot of football games.
That does win games, yeah.
That's won a lot of football games for about 50 years or more. If we can do that, I'd say that's the key to winning the game.
Now, are you worried about being rusty?
I don't know that I'd say worried
necessarily
about being rusty. I mean, we ain't been out there in a while. It's been 2 weeks since we played a game. So,
right.
So there'll be some things that, we got to get back in the flow of. But hopefully we can knock a lot of that rust off during the week and then go out there and be ready to play at a high level on Friday. So, no, I wouldn't necessarily say worried about it. We just got to make sure that we handle the situation the right way. And I'll say this, if anything, so these kids that we've had for the past 18 months or so that we've all been in this pandemic, they have learned how to handle things and handle adverse situations and adjust to things more so than any other situation that I've ever been in football.
Right.
And I told the guys that the other day, I said they have endured more and sacrificed and been through more just craziness to play this game than maybe any other group that ever has, or maybe I shouldn't say that ever has, but certainly in recent memory.
Yeah.
They've endured more and adjusted to more to play football during this pandemic than certainly any group in recent memory. So this is just another thing they got to adjust to, another thing they got to overcome, and we got to be ready to go play a football game Friday night against a really good team.
Well, I guess maybe more than thinking you might be rusty, maybe they haven't been out there in a while and they're ready to get after somebody.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I'll take that one. Instead of being rusty, maybe well rested, maybe ready to go. We'll hope for that one, James.
Fired up. That's what we want to see.
Just chomping at the bit.
Right.
That's it.
To hit somebody and hurt somebody.
Well, hit them. We don't want to injure anyone, James.
Right.
Yeah, we certainly like to hit them hard.
Well, we talked about being homecoming week. How important is that, and getting the community out, having the parade again? Everything was different last year.
Everything was different, and we're back to having some traditional stuff that'll be typical for our kids, and some coaches, and it's easy, they talk about distractions during homecoming week. And if everything in the world is rocking along in a typical sense, then maybe you worry more about that.
Right.
But with all this stuff going on, our kids need this. Our kids absolutely need this, man. They need some sense of normalcy. They need to have a pep rally. They need to have a parade, right? They missed out on so much of this stuff, and Lord knows they need it, and I'm glad that they're going to get to have it. So pep rally will be at the stadium, right? And that'll be 6:30 on Thursday night. So the seniors will do the toga run. Obviously, football team will be there. Cheerleaders will be there. I believe the band will be there. Yes, the band will be there as well. So that's open. If anybody in the community wants to come out to that, student body will be there. That's Thursday night at 6:30. And then the parade, which will be a downtown parade, that'll be at 1:30 on Friday. That'll start right there by the DO parking lot, and then it'll go all the way through downtown, how it typically does. But really glad that they're getting to have a pep rally. Really glad that our kids are getting to have a parade. That's part of the high school football experience. And they need that, and I'm glad that they get to have it.
Well, that's really, like, having the parade and the pep rally, that's more than just football experience. That's a high school experience for the kids that aren't on the football team.
Correct, yeah, for the whole student body.
It affects the whole school.
Yeah, for the younger ones too, right? When you're second, third grader and watching the football players walk in the parade, that's a memory, right?
Begging for some candy.
Yeah, that's an experience that they all need to have, and I'm glad they get to have it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's back this year.
Absolutely. You going to be there? Are you the Grand Marshal? I heard you may have been the Grand Marshal.
If you'll let me be, I will be.
I'm not in charge.
I don't know who's in charge of the
That's
parade.
above my pay grade as far as
I think if anybody deserves it, I should be on the short list.
You got to be. You got to be.
Well, Coach, anything else this week?
No, man. Tickets will be on GoFan. You can get them early. There'll still be a cash gate. Glad to be back at home. Glad to be playing a football game through all the craziness that we've had. Come out and support the Vikes. Come out and support these kids. They need it. So just really glad to be back here with you and Jeffrey and doing the show. Glad that we're back to practicing football this week. Glad that we get to have a game at home. So just really excited to get back to normal and hopefully go get a win against a very good team.
Well, you got to go Vikes for us?
Always. Go Vikes!
Go Vikes. See you next week.